Okay, welcome to session 2, 30 words in 30 minutes. And we have a few students here again, one that was here last week and some 2 new ones. But what we do is we go through the words, we repeat them, and we focus on the pronunciation. Because a lot of our international students don't pronunciate the words correctly. And then we give you a quick definition, and then we move on, and we try to get you out of here as quickly as we can. And with your handout, we've emphasized, we've capitalized the syllable that's going to be emphasized. So we're really going to focus on that and the pronunciation of the words, okay? So let's just go ahead and get started. My name is Neil LaGrange. I teach the capstone course in the Financial Planning School, okay? And, but let's start. The first word is exchange. 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 Exchange, right, like the New York Stock Exchange. Basically, if you are changing one item for another, you've exchanged something. So on the New York Stock Exchange, you have buyers and sellers of stock. That's why they call it an exchange. Or Forex is foreign currency exchange. They're exchanging dollars for wons, if you're from China, or dollars for euros, okay? So that's exchange. The next word is maturity. Maturity. Maturity, right. The emphasis is on the T-U-R. Sometimes in the United States we will pronounce it maturity. So sometimes you will hear maturity, maturity or maturity. Either one works. So let's just go with maturity. Maturity. And let's try the other way. Maturity.
Maturity.
Maturity. Whichever way, either way is correct. Okay? And basically that's the end of a period of time. When something matures, like a bond matures or a certificate of deposit has a fixed maturity date. The end of that period of time is when it matures. Maturity. Maturity. Okay, the next word is convertible.
Convertible.
Right, that's great. Get that emphasis on that convertible. So, yeah, and it doesn't have to be a hard emphasis. You don't have to go convertible. You just very subtly, yeah, convertible. Just kind of put a little bit of emphasis on the correct syllable. And in the dictionary, they have a little dash by the syllable that's emphasized. So you can look it up that way. So convertible. And that's something that is capable of being exchanged. Is something that is convertible. Like sometimes they have bonds that are convertible bonds. You can convert the bonds into stocks. So convertible. Convertible, right, yes, very good. Next, quote. Now this is only one syllable, so the emphasis is just quote. Quote. Quote, right. Quote, right. It's just the price of a stock or a bond, or to give me a quote. There's different words, there's different meanings to different words. The definition I am giving you is just in relation to financial terms, okay? So a quote, like give me a quote on that stock. So quote. Quote, very good. Quote, right. Okay, certification. Certification. Let's try that one, Pete.
Certification.
Right.
Certification.
Certification.
Yes, perfect. And that's when we talked about those shun words, the words that end in T-I-O-N. The emphasis is on the syllable before the shun, like action, certification. Anything that ends in shun, the syllable before the shun, you put a little emphasis on it. Think of any shun word, that's the way it works. And there's a couple more later on here. So a certification is somebody who's met the requirements to practice professionally in a field. Like you have your certification. If you're a financial planner, you get a certification. Or I'm sure in hotel restaurant management, there's certain certifications that you get. So certification.
Certification.
Right, certification, right. Okay. Privacy.
Privacy.
Privacy, right. Something is private. Everybody knows what that means, right? Privacy. You don't want, you should keep things private. Keeping information secret or confidential. Privacy. when you're dealing with clients or whenever you're in a transaction, whether it's hotel, restaurant management, or whether it is, brokerage or whatever, you want to maintain privacy with the client, right? Privacy. Privacy, right, okay. Fiduciary. Fiduciary, okay. That is, if you are a fiduciary, you are acting in the best interest of the client. That's what it means. You are taking care of someone. You are a fiduciary for them. You are taking care of their money. You are acting in their best interest. Okay? That's fiduciary. And that C is not, it's kind of pronounced like SH in this. Sometimes the C is a C. Sometimes it's like a C, a hard C like cat. But in this instance, the C is almost like a sh, like fiduciary. Fiduciary. Yeah, that's how you pronounce that word, fiduciary. Okay? The next one is portability. 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 And that emphasis is on the bill. Portability. Right, good, very good. Capable of being moved. Something that's portable, it can be moved. Okay? So you can move your money, you can move this table. It's portable. It's movable. It can be moved. Portability. Okay? Revocable. Revocable, right. Revocable. Revocable means that you can take it back or rescind it or change it. It's revocable. It can be changed. Okay? So revocable. Perfect. Revocable. You can change that. Now the next word, there's two separate pronunciations for this next word. Okay? And that's irrevocable. Irrevocable. Perfect. Good, good. Irrevocable. Irrevocable means that it is not able to be changed. Okay? Revocable, you can change it. Irrevocable, you can't change it. Now some people, instead of pronouncing it irrevocable, I put a second pronunciation on there, and some people will pronounce that irrevocable. Irrevocable, right. So this has to come into play for trusts. There's revocable trusts, there's irrevocable trusts, but some attorneys and accountants and other people will call it irrevocable trusts. So it's just a matter of how you pronounce it. It's the same word, but there are a couple of different pronunciations of that word. But the main idea is that irrevocable means it cannot be changed, or irrevocable. It cannot be changed, okay? And again, now on the second pronunciation, there are the first two syllables are emphasized. Irrevocable.
Irrevocable.
Right, that's the second pronunciation, okay? Now let's move on. Monitor. Monitor. Right, the emphasis is on that first syllable. Monitor. Let's monitor something. Let's watch and observe very closely what's going on. Let's monitor it. So if you're in the hotel restaurant management and you're watching your staff, you're trying to see what's going on with your staff. Are they doing what they're supposed to do? You're monitoring them. You're watching them. You're watching them with an intent of analyzing what's going on. You're monitoring the situation. Monitor. Basically, monitor. I'm watching so that I can make an analysis. I'm monitoring what's going on, okay? And that in investments, we monitor people's investments to make sure that they're working the way they're supposed to work, okay? Monitor. The next one is philanthropy. Philanthropy. Philanthropy, right. Philanthropy is basically when somebody has a lot of money and they like to give their money away to charity. They're doing philanthropy. And then when you hear sometimes that a person that has a whole bunch of money and gives it away to all kinds of charities, they will call them a philanthropist. That's the word isn't on there, but a philanthropist is somebody who gives away a lot of money. They've made a lot of money, they're giving it to charity, they're giving it to the needy, they're giving it to the poor. When you do that, you are doing philanthropy. Okay, you're giving your money to the needy. So, philanthropy. Philanthropy, excellent, good. Next one, correlation.
Correlation.
Right, again, the emphasis is on the syllable right before the T-I-O-N. Anytime you see T-I-O-N, the emphasis is on the syllable right before that. And the T-I-O-N is pronounced shun. So, correlation.
Correlation.
Correlation, right, correlation. Correlation means that they're items that move in the same direction. Like sometimes, if certain stocks, if the U.S. stock market goes up, sometimes the Chinese stock market goes up too, and that's correlation. They're moving kind of in the same direction. And then sometimes overnight, the Chinese market will tank, and then the U.S. market will tank. They've moved in correlation because they've moved together. So a lot of times when people diversify for the investment class, we look at assets that do not correlate. So that way, if one asset goes up, the other one goes down, and that balances your portfolio. So we use correlation a lot in the investment world. Variable. Variable. Right. It can change in value. It can change. It's a variable. It doesn't stay the same. It doesn't stay constant. It's variable. Things that will change are variable. They will change. Okay, they can change. Like your opinion on somebody could be variable. You may really feel strongly that you believe and trust them at one point in time, but maybe at another point in time your opinion isn't the same. It's your opinion's changed. It was variable. It changed. Maybe that's not the best example, but anything that can change is variable. Okay? Portfolio. Portfolio. Right, exactly, perfect, good job. The portfolio is the group of investments that you have, the securities that you hold as an investor. Or if you have an artist, they have their portfolio, their artwork, right? Portfolio. Okay, moving right along, reinvestment. Reinvestment. Excellent, excellent. Really, you guys are doing great. The use of earnings to make additional investments. So you make money on something, but instead of spending it, you put that back into more investments. So you've reinvested the money. Reinvestment. One more time. Reinvestment. Excellent, excellent, great. Settlement date. Settlement date. Again, another finance term, but it's basically settlement is that when the money is due for something. So like if you bought something and you're in the hotel world and you you had a contract with somebody to buy a bunch of shampoos and soaps and whatever for your hotel. When you pay them, you've settled the bill. You've paid the bill. Settlement. You've paid for it. That's the way it's used in this particular term. There's different words for settlement, or different terms for settlement, but in the business world, settlement is when you've paid for something. I've settled my bill. Settlement, okay? We'll just stop at that for that word. Performance. Performance, right, excellent. So the settlement performance is how your investment has done. Sorry about that. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Okay. Settlement. Okay. Performance is the gain or loss or your total return on your investments. Or your performance. Performance, you know the word performance. It's how did you do? How did you perform? So performance. Right, the emphasis on the performance. Performance. Right. Sector.
Sector.
Sector. Perfect. Excellent. Sector. It's a part of the economy, like the technology sector, or the hotel sector, or the restaurant sector. It's a specific slice of the economy is called the sector. The technology sector, the energy sector, the leisure sector, I think is what they call it in the stock market. Hotel and restaurant management is usually called the leisure sector. You know, so for you that are in hotel restaurant management. Rebalance.
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 Yeah, that's when something is out of balance and we're going to put it back in balance. So let's say you started out with, just hypothetically, 50% stocks, 50% bonds. Stocks went up, and now all of a sudden you've got 60% in stocks and only 40% in bonds, and you decide you want to rebalance it, so you take some money out of stocks, put it back into bonds to get it back to 50-50. That's just a hypothetical, but that's what rebalancing is. Get it back into balance. Okay, let's rebalance. Compensation.
Compensation.
Compensation. Again, one of those shun words again. The emphasis is on the syllable right before the shun. Compensation. Compensation. And basically compensation is payment, earnings for the work you did. You get compensated. Compensation. Next word, deduction.
Deduction.
Again, another shun word. Emphasis before the shun, right? Deduction.
Deduction.
Deduction, right. Excellent. Really good. Basically, something that may be subtracted from something else, like a tax deduction. Okay? Next one, caregiver.
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 Caregiver is a person who takes care of another person's needs. Like your elderly mother or your elderly, or you have somebody that's handicapped and somebody in your family takes care of that person, they are called a caregiver. A caregiver for someone. Okay? Next word is guardianship.
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 Right. And that's just the legal status for care of a person or property of another. So if you've got a guardianship, you've been declared by the courts that you are supposed to be in charge of taking care of that person. Not only their physical well-being, but their financial well-being as well. You are their guardian. Guardianship. Okay, beneficiary.
Beneficiary.
Right, this is again where that C is kind of pronounced like the sh. Beneficiary. Beneficiary. And that's the person who is to receive the benefit or the proceeds of something. Like, you might be the beneficiary of somebody's goodwill. You were the person that received the benefit. Now, a lot of times beneficiary in financial terms is used like if you have a life insurance policy or you have a retirement plan, the beneficiary is the person that if you die, they get your money. They're named as the beneficiary on your investments. So, the beneficiary. Okay, regulation.
Regulation.
Again, another one of those shun words. The emphasis is on the syllable right before the T-I-O-N. Regulation.
Regulation.
Yes, regulation, right. And that's just a rule. You know, like I'm sure in hotel restaurant management, there are certain rules you've got to follow. That's a regulation that's put down by the government or put down by your company, has different regulations, or I'm sure there's different rules in hotel restaurant that you have to follow by law, right? Regulations. Regulation. Okay. Charity.
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 Right. And that's just the act of giving, right? That's your giving. Or it's an institution that helps the people that need it. Like a charity could be the American Heart Association is considered to be a charity because they take in money and they use that to try to help people, or the American Cancer Society, or different charities that feed the poor are considered, charities. But if you give money, you are a philanthropist, but you are giving charity. You are giving your money away, charity. Okay? The act of giving. 3 more words. Procrastination.
Procrastination.
And that word actually has 2 emphasized syllables. Procrastination.
Procrastination.
Right, good, excellent. 2 emphasized on that one. Of course, always the syllable before the shun is the nation, but also procrastinate. So you put them together and you have 2 syllables of procrastination.
Procrastination.
Perfect. Basically, that's, you know what that is, right? Yeah, everybody knows what that is. That's just waiting. You're waiting to put off something that you need to do, and you're just, maybe you're being lazy, maybe you just like to work best at the last minute. That's procrastination. Fundamentals. Fundamentals. Right. Fundamentals. Fundamentals are just numbers, important numbers that pertain to the value of a security or a stock or a bond. You know, there's different meanings for fundamentals, but that's what we'll use today. Like, how much earnings do they make? How much debt do they have? That's their fundamentals of the company, okay, that we look at. In hotel restaurant management, it could be, let's get back to the fundamentals of making sure our customers are greeted properly, they're taken care of, that their rooms are clean, and that we go a step up and above to give the best service we can to our clients. That's getting back to the fundamentals of just giving good customer service, right? You guys talk about that, I'm sure, in your hotel restaurant. You know, making sure you take care of the customers. And the last word is diversify.
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 Excellent, excellent. And that is just to make sure that you have different types of investments among different asset classes. You diversify. You don't have everything in one type of investment. You have it in different types of investments. Okay? That's 30 words, and actually I think tonight we did it in 22 or 23 minutes, okay? I told you I would have you out here by 6:30, it's 6:29. Thank you for attending, and what we'll do is next semester we'll do these, probably the same words again, but I'll do session 1 and session 2. That will be probably in February or March, so keep an eye out for it. And if you got value out of it, please mention it to your friends and maybe they can come. Okay? Thank you. You guys are great. Okay?
Thank you.